What's up YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC 186. Let's start at the bottom. First fight is Aisling Daisley versus Randa Markos. And I think Randa Markos is pretty good, but I think just like her last fight, they're giving her someone who's a little bit more well-rounded, someone who's a little bit more experienced. And I think it's a little bit unfair that she keeps on getting really tough-ass fights and they don't give her kind of a freebie. So I'm going to pick Aisling Daisley by split decision. I think this could be fight of the night, just like Ronda's last fight. But once again, I think it's kind of unfair that a chick with only a couple of fights keeps getting these women with over 20. Next is Jessica Rakoczy versus Valentina Letourneau. And I don't know much about Valentina, so I'm just going to pick Rakoczy because she was the runner-up on that season of The Ultimate Fighter. And I know her record's not very good, which is why I assume they're probably going to try to feed her a win. Yeah, so I'm going to pick Rakoczy by TKO. Next we got Norman Tebel versus Chris Clements. And these guys are both strikers, but Norman Tebel is much more compact and, you know, throws cleaner strikes. They both have good power, but I think the fact that he's just a little bit, I think the fact that Tebel is just a little bit more well-rounded, more cleaner with his striking overall, he'll either win by decision or like late second, early third TKO. Next we got Olivier Mercer versus David Mitch. Well, I'm just gonna call him David Mitch. And this is just this is two grapplers going up against each other, and Olivier is the much better grappler. I mean, if you saw that season of Canada versus Australia, you know, he was like an alternate for the Canadian team for the Judo Olympics, and he's gonna out-grapple most of the people that he fights. He's just on, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys like Cormier. He's just on another level. The guys that are gonna beat him are the guys like Chad Laprise, you know, guys that can stuff the takedowns and just outstrike him. So I think Olivier wins by submission, just because overall two grapplers, and Olivier is clearly the much better grappler. Next we got Chad Laprise, who I was just talking about, versus Brian Branimir. And I would pick Laprise by, you know, either decision or TKO. Both these guys are pretty much just strikers, and I think Chad Laprise is the much better striker. Next, we got Alexis Davis versus Sarah Kaufman. The most pointless fight on the whole card. Sarah Kaufman's already beat Alexis Davis twice, for those of you who don't know. And even if Alexis Davis whoops Sarah Kaufman's ass, Sarah Kaufman will always be better than Alexis Davis. I've said this before, I don't like trilogies where someone's already won 2 of the 3 fights. To me, it's just pointless. Like, she could you know what I mean, Alexis Davis could blow out Sarah Kaufman, but Sarah Kaufman will always be better than Alexis Davis, because the score will always be 2-1. That's why I've never liked trilogies where the third fight, someone's already won 2 of them. So I'm gonna pick Kaufman. I think Kaufman wins all 3. There's just no point. Next is Patrick Cote versus Joe Riggs. And you wouldn't know this by looking at them, because Joe Riggs looks like he's like 100 years old, but he's actually younger than Patrick Cote. I think he's only like 32 or 33 years old, and Patrick Cote is like 35, 36, but I think the difference is Patrick Cote has been fighting in the UFC his last 5 or 6 fights, and Joe Riggs has been, you know, having a hard time winning in the lower levels. So I think Patrick Cote, you know, Joe Riggs might win the first round, maybe the first 2, but I think Patrick Cote will be able to keep the same pace for all 3 rounds and eventually knock Joe Riggs out, maybe late second, early third. On to the main card, we got Yves Dubois versus Thomas Almeida, and I think Almeida wins, but I could also see Yves being able to out-wrestle Thomas. I haven't seen Thomas, you know, I only saw that one fight where he was getting lit up with jabs the whole fight, but he was just able to win good combinations. But I'm going to pick Thomas Almeida by knockout. But, you know, this is a real test for him. I mean, he could get out-wrestled for the whole fight. Yves has really good wrestling, but I'm still going to pick Almeida by TKO. Next, we got John Makdessi versus Shane Campbell. Shane Campbell's a late replacement, and he's just going to get lit up. I mean, you don't fight a guy like John Makdessi on short notice if you're not, you know what I mean, unless you're at a certain level. And if you're just somebody making your debut, John Makdessi is just going to light this dude up and probably win by knockout in the first. Next, we got Fabio Maldonado versus Steve Boss. And Steve Boss, if you guys don't remember, was supposed to fight a while back, but I thought he retired. I guess he didn't, but he's been out for like a year. So I'm going to pick Fabio Maldonado just because they're both boxers. They both have a lot of knockout wins, but Maldonado's just been more active, and he's been fighting the better people. So I'm going to pick Maldonado by 3rd round knockout. I think the conditioning is going to be the big difference in this fight. Next is Michael Bisping versus CB Dollaway, and I think this fight will be exactly like the Tim Kennedy fight. I think CB will be able to hit takedowns and just control Michael for all 3 rounds. And even if it is standing, I think Michael's probably the better striker, but I think CB has more power, and I think if CB catches him, he'll be able to put him on his back and just control him for that round. So I'm going to pick CB by 30-27 decision. Next we got Demetrious Johnson versus Kyoji Horiguchi. And Demetrious is probably going to win this fight, but I'm going to pick Horiguchi. Why am I going to pick Horiguchi? Because he's not boring as hell. I mean, the only reason this card is getting trashed is because nobody likes Demetrious Johnson. And if anyone says that they do, then they should be defending this card. And I don't see anybody defending this card. You know, everybody says this card sucks because the Rampage isn't fighting Fabio Maldonado. You know what I mean? When the co-main event is more entertaining than the main event, that's when you got problems. And it's because Demetrious Johnson, I mean, he's not exciting, and he honestly shouldn't be the champion. He never beat Ian McCall that one time. You know, he lost. It should have been, you know, the champion should be Ian McCall or Joseph Benavidez right now, but whatever. Shit just happens. So I'm going to pick Horiguchi by knockout or decision. I just think nobody wants to see Demetrious Johnson as the champion. Nobody likes him. It's just a fact. That's why none of his pay-per-views do well. So, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.